Да, это явно какая-то туристическая вайнери. Туристов здесь полно.
Most of the time they do the cheese with the wine, they do it and they are hanging it
Desse daqui, ó. Esse aqui. 94 pontos. O outro não tô vendo aqui, ó. Pode ser uma coisa mais antiga. Não. Pode ser uma coisa mais antiga.
Awesome. How about you?
I'm Amber, I'm from Montreal.
All right.
Galina from Chicago, United
Awesome.
States.
All right.
Mara, same from Chicago.
Awesome. How about you?
Lena from California.
Awesome. How about you?
Liz from Texas.
Awesome.
Vladimir from Chicago.
Have any of you guys ever tried Syrah wine?
Yes.
Yes? It's a very popular red wine, a bit drier on the taste, a bit softer than your average Cabernet Sauvignon. This is Petite Syrah. Petite is a French word for small. So this is smaller Syrah. A bit more acidic on the taste, but mostly the same variety of wine. Here in Undurrago, we have three main ways that we make sure our wine is of the best quality and also that it can be produced in the most quantity. The first one is our growth system. So these wooden sticks, along with the metal wires you guys see here, are what we in Spanish call espalderas. Espalderas are what help us make all of our plants grow up to about the same height all throughout the park. Right now, these have just been trimmed, so no growth. But when the summer comes in or spring comes in and these plants start to grow, they won't grow higher than these metal wires. Why? Because during the summer, when these plants are full of leaves and grapes, here in Chile, specifically Santьяgo, we have a very dry heat. Secondly, during the summer, when we have this dry heat, we use a watering system called a trickle system, which means that we trickle small droplets of water to these plants and nothing else. Have you guys ever had table grapes that you can buy at your local supermarket? Table grapes are going to be about this size, right? Your average wine grape is going to be about this size. The difference in size is due to the fact that table grapes are watered with a lot of water, so that we can get nice, big, juicy grapes. For wine production, we want grapes that have less water, more sugar in them. And to achieve that, we basically strain the water out of these, bring them to the brink of death, and then make them generate more sugar so we can make good wine out of it. And last but not least, the way we have of taking care of these plants are the rosebuds. Right now, it just looks like a bunch of sticks with a pair of thorns, but this is actually a rosebud bush. During the summer, it has a lot of roses and leaves, and it is what we call a sacrifice plant. Have you guys ever heard about the cannery in the mines? Yes? Where they would send a cannery down to the mines. If the cannery died, it means that oxygen was lacking in the mine. This is basically the cannery, but for infestations, plagues, diseases. The rosebud is a very frail plant. So if an insect, plague, or disease were to attack this specific line of plants, the first one to die or showcase the effects of the plague would be the rosebud, giving us what is called a bioindicator and a heads up towards if we don't fight against it, we're going to lose an entire row of grapes. So yeah, do you guys have any questions?
How old are these grapes?
This specific plantation has an average age of around 10 years old. I know the ones further in the back have like 2 or 3 years old. These are the older ones. They have like 8, 9 years old. After every 12 years, for Petit Syrah specifically, we take out all the plants and replant them. Because after 12 years, plants start to decrease their production size. Not quality, but the size. But we have a high demand for Petit Syrah.
Вот Карменер, вон Савиньон Бланк, ничем они не отличаются друг от друга. Шардоне, да. Образцы. Как это выглядит, что ли?
So we use metal tanks like these for the fermentation process, but not every grape has the same fermentation process. In fact, there's one key difference between how we make red wine and white wine. Do you guys know what the main difference between those two processes is?
No.
Right?
The temperature?
Temperature is one of the differences, but there's a more important one. Oxygen. Sorry? Oxygen. No, the best and most important differentiating factor is the skins on the grapes. So for red wine, we use the entirety of the grape. The skins, the juice, and the seed. And for white wine, we take off the skin, we take off the seed, and we only use the juice of the grape. This generates a difference in tannins. Have you guys ever heard the word tannins in the wine world before? Well, don't worry if you haven't, because that's my job today. Tannins are a naturally occurring chemical compound that forms on the skins of grapes. Older people will tell you it's how much of a headache it gives you. Younger people will tell you it's how longer a wine can live. I will tell you that it's actually both. So for red wine, which uses the skins and has a higher tannin percentage, it's going to give you a worse headache, and it's also going to have a longer lifespan without going bad. Whereas white wine has less tannins because it doesn't use the skins on the grapes, and it's going to give you, let's say, better headache, and it's going to be able to live for a shorter period of time without going bad. This is what actually defines the fact that white wine goes from the tank directly into the bottle, and it doesn't have an aging process in 90% of cases. There are always exceptions, but in 90% of cases, white wine goes from the tank to the bottle. It doesn't go through an aging process in a barrel because it doesn't have the tannins to survive that. Whereas red wine is the other way around. It has so many tannins that it needs to go through a barrel for the aging process so that it can balance out the acid fruitiness of the grape with the bitter softness of the barrel. on top of the surface. Hence why this room is so old and hasn't had many things happen to it except a bunch of the cobwebs fall off, probably. In any case, in here we keep around 3,000 barrels of aging wine, each with a capacity of 225 liters, so that we can produce about 200 to 300 bottles of wine from each and every barrel. Here at Undurrago, we specifically use French oak and North American oak for our barrels, and we import these just as you see them, ready to be used. We don't do anything with them except just open them up, pour the wine in, and take it out. Between 6 to 12 months in a barrel. Premium wine spends anywhere between 1 to 2 years in a barrel, and ultra premium top of the line icon wine spends anywhere between 2 to 4 years in the barrel. Those are the main categories of wine. And yeah, do you guys have any questions about the aging process? Yeah.
No, I have a question about the words, well, the letters written on the barrels. Does that mean where they're going, or?
So you'll see like 4 stickers, right? You see one that is kind of scorched into the wood, that has like a circle symbol. That's where the barrel was bought from, so the maker of the barrel.
Okay.
The barcode up top is just labeling from us. The gray kind of silver sticker that has just enology as a word and then a number is the serial number for this barrel for this year. And then the white sticker, if it has, it means the day that the wine was poured in or last checked. So, for example, this barrel right here, you'll notice it has a white sticker, and if I knock on it, it's full of wine. So whatever date it says there, it's just how much time it's been.
Chévere, ¿no? Están todas las...
Винные погреба.
You guys might be wondering, why do they keep 140-year-old bottles of wine locked away in dark with all the voices at night? And we do this for experimentation purposes. Are you guys familiar with what an enologist is?
Nope.
Don't worry, because that's my job to know. Well, an enologist is a person who has studied the career of enology. Hence, they studied in a university everything there is to know about wine, from the flavor, the taste, and the aroma, down to the chemical composition of every single wine. So, wine experts. Enologists come down here from all around the world to take samples of these very old wines and see how it has evolved throughout the years. Also, it's the owner's personal collection, so it's kind of a double show-off type of thing. In any case, the last study that was conducted here in Undurrago was all the way back in December. In December, we have 2 French enologists. Is anybody from here from France? You are? All right, so pardon my French accent. Well, they came down here and they were trying Cabernet Sauvignon from the year 1900. We asked them as like a work crew, why specifically Cabernet Sauvignon from 1900? And they said that they were picking one winery from every major Cabernet Sauvignon producing country in the world and trying their 1900 Cabernet to see who had taken better care of it. So which Cabernet tasted the best after 100 years. And, well, they came down here, they tried it, and we were like, can you tell us how it tastes like? Try and describe it so that we can tell it as a fun fact on the tour. Is it dry? Is it moist? Is it fruity? Is it bitter? And they were like, pardoning my accent, oui, monsieur, this wine tastes like shit. Because wine isn't meant to spend 100 years in a bottle. What I want you guys to take away from this whole anecdote is that The most common question I get, and you guys actually asked me this before, how long should I keep my wine in a bottle? There's a very key difference between aging in a barrel and being stored in a bottle. So the aging process is where wine actually changes and balances its profile, its flavor, its aroma. Yes, it does. But in the bottle, the wine doesn't continue to age. It doesn't continue to change its flavor, except for the tannins that start to dissipate. Remember when we talked about the tannins? The tannins start to dissipate after a few years, which is why I always recommend for higher quality wines, less time in the bottle, because they have already spent 3-4 years in a barrel. And for lower quality wines, a wine that spent 6 months in a barrel can spend around 9 to 10 years in a bottle. But these $800 bottles of 2002 Cabernet Sauvignon from the valley of whatever is probably just going to be overpriced vinegar when you open it, because it's already gone bad. That's what I want you guys to take away from this. And part 2 of this lesson is, if you open the bottle, like we say here in Chile, we kill the bottle. Because the best flavor of wine is not after a week or 2 that it's been bad. An aroma is inherently good. These 4 that you see here under the serie de defectos are defects. So if you were to find any of the smells that they're currently tasting in your wine, then you would know that your wine has gone bad. These are sulfur, mold, vinegar, and cork. Next to the defects, we have the species. The species are anything that you could get from the wood and the contact that it spends in the wood. So anything from truffle, cinnamon, coffee, all the way to tobacco or tea. After that, we have the balsamic series, which is any sweet or smell or taste that the wine could have. So chocolate, caramel, vanilla, etc. This comes from the wood, but also from certain varieties of wine. Not every wine can taste or smell like chocolate. Over here we have the vegetal series, which comes from the soil. The soil will give us different types of smells, aromas, and tastes, depending on if it's more moist or more dry.
Это арома-рум. По всем стенкам тут штук 50, наверное, баночек с самыми разными запахами. Запах земли, запах плохого вина, запах хорошего вина, запах фруктов, которые похожи на вино, и прочее, прочее, прочее. Вот это, например, запах стробери. Вот такая баночка. Нюхать надо вон там в середине, а здесь можно помахать, чтобы побольше это самое. Вот Тамара вот нюхает. Вот. Стробери не очень пахнет. Ты нюхай, вот эта лопатка, она добавляет воздух тебе туда, вот вверх, вот так. Видишь?
Saita